Hello YouTube reloaders. Thanks for watching. Hornady Loader here. My standard disclaimer, I am not an employee of Hornady Manufacturing, nor do I have any interest, financially or otherwise, in the sale of Hornady products. I've been reloading for almost 35 years, and for the last 20 years I've been using Hornady equipment almost exclusively, hence the name Hornady Loader. The Hornady logo is a registered trademark of Hornady Manufacturing, Grand Island, Nebraska.
Today's video will be an examination of the Franklin Arsenal wet tumbler. Basically, it's two primary components: the base, or the motorized base with a timer for up to 3 hours of tumbling, and the tumbler itself. The timer can be set anywhere from 0 to 3 hours. Tumbles very quickly, and also comes with 5 pounds of stainless steel pins for polishing your cases. Let's take a closer look at the tumbler. Now, the tumbler is sealed on both ends with a large screw-off clamp, and it has a clear closure here with a rubber gasket to seal it. The inside of the tumbler is six-sided, which helps tumble the cases a little better as opposed to something that's just purely round. And it's also coated with a rubberized liner to protect your cases a little better. Now, it also comes with these screens which replace the clear plastic for when you're done tumbling. You can use these screens to separate the brass from the water and the stainless steel media. Now, the media, as I mentioned, it comes with 5 pounds of stainless steel media. Let's see if I can get some of that out of there. My magnet here. If you don't have one of these, this is a wonderful tool to have. It allows you to manipulate or move the stainless steel pins around, and a simple pulling of the handle there will release the pins. Basically, the magnet just moves up to the top of the canister here so that it's far enough away from the pins that they're no longer attracted to it, and they fall in there. But there's 5 pounds of pins in there. It comes with the pins, which is, they run about $50 for 5 pounds of those, so it's real handy that it comes with the pins. Okay, I've tightened the bottom as tight as I can get it. I've got some mixed brass here. This is all once fired brass that I fired at the range this past weekend. I'm going to go ahead and dump that in there. I've got the 5 pounds of stainless steel media in there already. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and fill this with water. Then we'll add our additives and we'll be ready to go. Okay, I've weighed it now. It's 27 pounds. I tell you to keep under 30 pounds. So we're 3 pounds under that. I'm going to use a little Dawn dishwashing detergent. I'm not going to measure out tablespoon. I'm just going to squirt some in there. I've only got a little bit left in this can anyway. And I'm going to use a tablespoon of Lemmy Shine. The Dawn has a great degreasing agent, and the Lemmy Shine will help keep water spots off of my brass and keep it nice and shiny. I'm gonna Just wet this. You need to make sure you don't have any steel pins around the edges here. No debris that could cause your seal to fail. And I'm going to tighten this just as tight as I can get it. Okay. And we'll check the leaks. Make sure that we don't have any water coming out the sides. Okay. Next, we'll go ahead and put it on the base. And I'm gonna fire it up for 2 hours. I'm gonna watch it here for a second, make sure I don't have any leaks. And assuming there's no leaks, we'll be back in 2 hours. And through the magic of YouTube, 2 hours has passed by in a matter of seconds. Now let's take it off the base there. Let's see what we've got. I'm going to use one of the screens here. To empty the water out. And there should be some pretty nasty water. Oh my, look at that. Ooh, that's nasty. But let's see what our brass looks like now. Hey, not too bad. Very nice. Primer pockets are nice and clean. One thing I forgot to mention is if you're going to go through all the trouble of wet tumbling, you might as well deprime your brass beforehand, because wet tumbling will get those primer pockets nice and clean. Whereas if you're just going to do the vibratory tumbler with corn cob or walnut media, it's just not going to do anything for your primer pockets. So there's no point in depriming, or you can or if you want, but you'll have to go through the primer pocket cleaners and whatnot. Whereas with the wet tumbler, don't have to do that, because the primer pockets are nice and clean. Cases are clean inside and out. That's just beautiful. Next, we need to get the media separated from the cases, and then we'll work on drying them out. Okay, I'm going to use my Franklin Arsenal media separator for cases into it. Do a little at a time here. Fill it about 2/3 full or so. Close it up. Insert the locking pin. And then I'm just going to rotate it going to do it slowly here so I don't have any pins come flying out until I get the majority of the pins out of the cases. This is also going to help get some of the water out of the cases that might be trapped inside. And I'm going to run the rest of the cases through the separator, get everything separated, and then we'll work on getting everybody dried out. Okay, I've got all the brass tumbled, all the media separated from it. I've got it on a towel here. I'm going to kind of damp it down with the towel a little bit, but next step is I'm going to preheat my oven to 150 degrees and use that to dry it for about 15 minutes or so. Also, you need to make sure that you flush out your tumbler with fresh water and try to get all the media out of there. We're going to be drying out the media as well. I've dumped the nasty water out of the bucket there. You can see I've got quite a few pins in there. And then in the media separator I've got the rest of my pins. So I'm going to use my magnetic device to transfer the pins over to the towel and get those dried out a little bit, and then I'm going to use the oven to dry them out completely, just like I do with the brass. Okay, the oven's been preheated to about 175. I've got my brass on some cookie sheets here, and I'm going to stick it in the oven for about 15 minutes. You know, if it wasn't for reloading, I would have absolutely no use for this oven. The only thing I cook is brass, apparently. So, 15 minutes in the oven, and we'll be set. And there it is. All completely dry, ready to be separated by manufacturer and lot number, and caliber, of course. And ready for the reloading. Now, one thing I will mention about wet tumblers versus the vibratory tumblers with the corncob or walnut media. Wet tumblers are superior at cleaning your cases. You'll notice that if I can get this in focus, the primer pockets are perfectly clean. The cases are clean inside and out. You can see that. So the wet tumbling, superior for cleaning your brass. However, vibratory tumblers are superior at polishing your brass. Now, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll go ahead and run this through a vibratory tumbler with some corncob media after I wet tumbled it and get it really, really shiny. It'll look brand new by the time I'm done with it. But, you know, I've seen comparisons all the time, you know, on YouTube that compares wet tumbling versus vibratory with corncob or walnut media. And they're really kind of apples and oranges, in my opinion. Wet tumblers are good for cleaning, but not as much for polishing. They do polish a little bit, but not quite as good as a vibratory tumbler. So, you know, comparisons between the two are just not the same. Vibratory tumblers will not get the inside of your cases clean like this. They won't get your primer pockets clean. So it's worth the extra effort. Let's face it, wet tumbling is a pain in the butt. You got to, you know, deal with the water and buckets and all of that. Plus, when you're done, you really need to flush out your tumbler, your buckets and everything with fresh water. Get it all that gunk cleaned out of there. Dry it out. Don't leave the inside of your tumbler wet. Get in there with a towel. Dry it out real good, especially if you're going to store your pins in the tumbler. You know, having the pins sit there for, you know, weeks or a month at a time, sitting in water is just going to rust them. I know they're stainless steel, but they will rust. I've got my pins here on the towel. They've been drying out for a little bit here. I'm going to put those in the oven as well. Get those completely dry. I'm going to clean out my buckets and my tumbler, get them completely dried out. Your equipment will only last as long as you take care of it. And you do not want to leave your, especially your tumbler, with water in there. So, that's all there is to the Franklin tumbler. It's a great little tumbler. The Franklin media separator works great. I have no problems with either one. And like I say, I'll probably run them through the vibratory tumbler as well and get them polished up. I've added this clip to the Franklin Arsenal wet tumbler video. Ruthless 4645. I want to thank him for bringing this point up to me, and this is why the video was taken down originally, and this clip added to the end. I think any reloader who has used a vibratory tumbler has ended up shooting some corncob or walnut media down their barrel from something getting stuck inside the case and ended up getting reloaded. Now that's a dangerous situation in that it causes overpressure situations and things like that. So whether you use vibratory tumbling or wet tumbling, it's critical that you get your you inspect each piece of brass, make sure that you don't have any of your corncob or walnut media in your cases. It's especially important in rifle cartridges since the pressures are much higher and the velocities are much higher. Now, as I mentioned, any reloader who's ever used a vibratory tumbler has probably shot some corncob or walnut media down their barrel, and that's bad for overpressure situations. But now consider what would happen. Grab a few of these. If we shoot some of these stainless steel pins down our barrel. Unlike corncob or walnut media, that's going to cause some damage to the inside of your barrel. Especially with a rifle cartridge, with the velocities we're talking about, 3,000 feet per second, that's pretty fast for a piece of stainless steel shooting down your barrel, and you'll probably ruin your gun. So it's critical that whether you do vibratory tumbling or especially wet tumbling with stainless steel pins, that you inspect your cases and you get all of that stuff out of there. This is also an important reason why you need to get the inside of your cases dried out thoroughly. A little moisture inside that case is going to cause those pins, or one or two of those pins maybe, to stick inside the case. They won't come out when you run them through the separator, or even if you kind of bang it a little bit and try to get it out. That moisture in there will cause those pins to stick in there. So you need to inspect each and every case that you put in a wet tumbler to make sure those pins are out of there. It's either that or injure yourself at the range, or at the very least ruin your gun, and it's off to the gunsmith for a new barrel. So I want to thank Ruthless 4645 for bringing that up. That's what this extra little clip here is why I took the video down and resubmitted it for that very reason. That's all for this video. I hope you liked it, maybe even learned something. If so, please click the like button. Maybe even subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, and happy reloading.